It's one of the most heartbreaking things to witness when someone who used to walk with confidence now struggles to stand up from a chair. If you're over 60, chances are you've already started noticing small changes. Your muscles don't bounce back like they used to. Soreness lingers longer, and recovery feels like a slow uphill climb. But what if I told you that some of the foods you believe are helping you stay strong might actually be holding you back? Muscle recovery isn't just about lifting weights or stretching after a walk. It's deeply connected to what you eat, and for seniors, the stakes are even higher. As we age, our bodies become more sensitive to inflammation, dehydration, and nutrient imbalances. That means even seemingly harmless foods can quietly sabotage your strength. New research from the Journal of Aging and Physical Activity reveals a troubling truth. Nearly 40% of adults over 60 unknowingly consume foods that slow muscle repair, leaving them vulnerable to weakness and injury. Even more shocking, many of these foods are hiding in plain sight, packaged as healthy options or staples we've trusted for years. Take Helen, a 68-year-old grandmother who loved her morning routine, a glass of her favorite sunrise-colored drink, a bowl of a crunchy breakfast staple, and a quick meal from a can she thought was a smart choice. She believed she was doing everything right, until her leg cramps grew worse and her walks grew shorter. It wasn't until her doctor connected her diet to her muscle struggles that she realized her trusted choices were working against her. The culprits aren't just obvious villains. For example, that better-for-you pantry staple promoted as light or low-calorie. It quietly drains the body of essential fluids, starving muscles of what they need to heal. That innocent-seeming boxed delight everyone grabs for convenience, its hidden sweetness sparks a fire of inflammation, a silent enemy that delays recovery. Even the golden liquids many of us heat daily in pans, common kitchen staples, can tip the scales toward a simmering internal storm when overused. And let's not forget those quick, savory proteins tucked into sandwiches or breakfast plates. Convenient, yes, but loaded with stealthy additives that strain aging bodies. But here's the good news. Small, mindful swaps can make a world of difference. In today's video, we'll uncover 4 hidden foods that could be quietly stealing your strength and what to enjoy instead. Let's make every step strong and confident. If this helps you, hit subscribe for more weekly tips. Your journey to better recovery starts now. Let's begin. Number 4, let's talk about something that's sitting quietly in most pantries. Those neatly stacked cans of soup, the familiar box of crackers, or that bag of light snacks you reach for between meals. They don't look dangerous. In fact, they often wear labels like low fat, heart healthy, or made with whole grains. But hidden behind the comfort and convenience of these everyday choices is something that could be quietly draining your strength. Sodium. More of it than your muscles can handle. You see, our bodies are made to maintain a delicate balance. Muscles especially rely on proper hydration and the right nutrients to heal and grow. But when there's too much salt in the system, water is pulled out of the muscles, leaving them stiff, sore, and slower to recover. It's not just about thirst, it's about the very tissue that helps you rise from bed, carry groceries, or walk across the garden without stumbling. Research from the National Institute on Aging shows that over 60% of adults over 65 consume more sodium than recommended, often without realizing it. And here's the heartbreaking part. The foods doing the most damage aren't fast food or chips. They're often the ones we've come to trust. A single serving of canned soup can contain over 800 milligrams of sodium. That's more than half of what an older adult should have in an entire day, before you've even touched the salt shaker. Take someone like Raymond, a 72-year-old retiree who started experiencing painful leg cramps after his daily walks. He thought he was doing everything right, eating soup and crackers instead of fried food, staying active, drinking plenty of water. But what he didn't know was that those salty, smart choices were slowly working against him. The dehydration was setting in silently, leaving his muscles parched and prone to cramping. Once he swapped the canned soups for homemade vegetable broth, gently seasoned with herbs like thyme and garlic, and traded his crackers for crisp cucumber slices with a spoonful of hummus, the difference was like night and day. That's the power of awareness. The small print on packaging might be hard to read, but your body is always listening. It tells you when something's not right, through fatigue, aches, or that nagging sense that healing is taking longer than it used to. You don't have to give up flavor or convenience to protect your strength. A warm bowl of soup made at home with fresh vegetables, or a snack of apple slices with unsalted almond butter can be just as satisfying and far more nourishing. You've spent a lifetime building strength, raising families, working hard, caring for others. Your muscles have been there through it all. They deserve care, hydration, and healing, and it starts with letting go of what's quietly hurting them and reaching for what helps them thrive. Number 3, there's something about sweetness that brings comfort. A glass of juice with breakfast, a bowl of cereal that crunches just right, a little treat after lunch. It feels harmless, even nourishing, especially when the packaging says natural or the fruit juice is labeled as no added sugar. But for older bodies, sugar, even the kind that sounds healthy, can quietly become an enemy to healing. When we eat foods high in sugar, our blood sugar levels rise quickly. That sudden spike triggers inflammation throughout the body, a silent kind that doesn't cause a fever or redness, but lingers deep inside, making recovery harder. For seniors, this is especially dangerous. Muscles that are trying to repair themselves after everyday use, or even a light walk, need protein to heal. But when sugar is constantly spiking in the bloodstream, it reduces the body's ability to use that protein effectively. So even if you're eating well, your body might not be getting the benefit. A study published in the journal Nutrients in 2021 found that high glycemic diets, those filled with sugary foods and drinks, were directly linked to increased muscle loss and slower repair in adults over 60. And here's the most surprising part. Many of the biggest sugar culprits come disguised as health foods. A small glass of orange juice, for example, can carry as much sugar as a can of soda. A bowl of granola, just a few spoonfuls, might have more added sugar than a slice of cake. Let me tell you about Maria, 70 years old and fiercely independent. She prided herself on eating clean, fruit juice in the morning, a bit of sweetened cereal, and a granola bar during her afternoon walk. But as the months passed, she noticed her legs feeling heavy, her muscles slower to bounce back. Her doctor gently pointed to her blood sugar levels and suggested a few changes. At first, she was hesitant. Giving up juice felt like giving up a piece of her routine, but she tried blending whole fruits instead, with spinach and a splash of water. She swapped her cereal for a warm bowl of steel-cut oats topped with cinnamon and crushed walnuts. And over time, she didn't just feel better, she felt stronger. The truth is, sweetness isn't the problem. It's the hidden overload. Nature gives us sweetness wrapped in fiber, vitamins, and healing antioxidants. That's the kind of sugar our muscles can work with. When you reach for whole fruits, add a handful of nuts, or enjoy plain yogurt with berries, you're not depriving yourself. You're giving your body a better chance to recover, to rebuild, to move with ease again. You don't have to live without sweetness. You just have to choose the kind that loves you back. Your muscles have carried your life story. Now let's feed them with something that helps them keep going, stronger, steadier, and ready for whatever comes next. Number 2, it's something many of us grew up with. The golden bottle by the stove, the familiar sizzle as vegetables hit the pan. Corn oil, soybean oil, and other processed vegetable oils have become kitchen staples in countless homes. They're affordable, easy to use, and often promoted as heart healthy. But beneath the surface, these oils can quietly create a storm in the body, one that makes healing harder and muscles slower to recover, especially as we age. You see, these oils are packed with omega-6 fatty acids. Our bodies do need some omega-6s, but only when they're balanced with omega-3s, the kind found in foods like walnuts, flax seeds, and fatty fish. Unfortunately, the modern diet is deeply unbalanced. According to a study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, most adults now consume omega-6 and omega-3 at a ratio of 16 to 1, when it should be closer to 4 to 1, or even less. This imbalance fuels low-grade, chronic inflammation throughout the body, the kind that quietly interferes with everything from heart health to muscle repair. For seniors, this is especially serious. Muscles naturally lose mass with age, and they need all the support they can get to recover from exercise, injury, or even daily movement. But when inflammation is running in the background, fueled in part by these everyday oils, the recovery process slows down. You might feel stiff longer after gardening, take more time to bounce back after a walk, or notice your strength fading faster than before. There's a woman named Linda I think about often. She's 75, full of life, and used to cook all her meals at home. She believed she was doing the right thing, avoiding butter, grilling instead of frying, but every dish started with a splash of vegetable oil. When she began experiencing constant joint soreness and muscle fatigue, she assumed it was just part of getting older. But her daughter, a nutritionist, suggested trying something different. They cleared the pantry of processed oils and swapped in extra virgin olive oil and a bit of avocado oil for high-heat cooking. Within weeks, Linda noticed the difference, not just in her energy, but in how quickly she recovered after her morning walks. The good news is, the solution isn't complicated. Just a small shift, reaching for a drizzle of olive oil over corn oil, blending flaxseed into a smoothie, or adding a few walnuts to your salad, can help your body find its balance again. These aren't luxury foods. They're healing choices. They're ways of telling your body, I'm listening, I care. You've walked through decades of life. Your body has been your companion through it all. Through work, love, loss, joy. It deserves kindness. And sometimes that kindness begins with what goes into the pan. Let's feed your strength, not your inflammation. You're not just cooking, you're healing. Number 1, there's a certain comfort in the familiar smell of breakfast sizzling on the stove. Crispy bacon, savory sausage, a warm ham sandwich for lunch. These foods often remind us of family gatherings, early mornings, or quick meals on busy days. But as we grow older, the very foods that once brought joy can quietly chip away at our strength and healing, especially when it comes to muscle recovery. Processed meats are more than just high in flavor. They're also packed with sodium, saturated fats, and chemical preservatives like nitrates and nitrites. These ingredients aren't just hard on the heart. They can deeply impact how our muscles repair and how our bodies absorb the nutrients they desperately need to stay strong. High sodium levels, for instance, draw water out of the cells, leaving us mildly dehydrated even when we don't feel thirsty. And when muscles are dehydrated, they're more prone to cramping, stiffness, and slower healing after activity. The hidden threat doesn't stop there. A 2020 study published in Nutrients found that frequent consumption of processed meats was linked to increased levels of systemic inflammation and poorer muscle function in adults over 65. And that inflammation, quiet, chronic, and often unnoticed, can reduce the body's ability to build and maintain muscle tissue, even when you're eating enough protein. The very preservatives meant to keep these meats fresh longer, like nitrates, have also been shown to interfere with mitochondrial function, the tiny engines inside your cells that fuel repair and regeneration. I still remember Jack, a kind man in his early 70s, who loved his bacon and toast mornings. He was active, walking his dog every day, doing stretches in his backyard. But over time, he started feeling more tired, more sore after each walk. He chalked it up to age. It wasn't until a dietitian gently asked about his eating habits that the connection became clear. With a few simple shifts, swapping processed meats for grilled salmon, roasted chicken, or even homemade turkey patties seasoned with herbs, his energy began to return. He didn't feel like he was giving up his favorites. He felt like he was getting something back. Strength, clarity, resilience. There's power in the plate. You don't need to lose the flavor or the tradition. You just need to reimagine it. Try roasting lean meats at home, slicing avocado with eggs, or flavoring meals with garlic, turmeric, or rosemary. Spices that don't just taste good, but also help fight inflammation. Your body is still capable of healing, of growing stronger, of surprising you. All it needs is a little less of what wears it down and more of what lifts it up. When you choose foods that nourish instead of deplete, you're not just feeding your muscles. You're honoring your journey. If this video resonated with you, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more empowering tips to keep you feeling your best. Let's keep growing stronger together, one step at a time.